From walking out with a fellow fighter on a leash to dressing up in a glittering dress and dancing out to the cage. These are the weirdest ring entrances in MMA history. And seriously, they get pretty damn wild. Like most people, you might think that a ring entrance is a great opportunity for a fighter to strike fear into their opponent's heart. Play a song they like, maybe try and get hyped up to. You know, get in the cage for a wild fist fight. But it seems you and I are wrong. Because the fighters on this list have used crazy props, weird outfits, and wacky dance numbers to signal their entrances to the cage. Sometimes these entrances get so weird that we forget we're supposed to be watching a fight. And if anybody's known for their absurd fight entrances, it would have to be Filthy Tom Lawler. One of his strangest performances is none other than his walkout at UFC 100. Now, though some might argue that Who Let the Dogs Out by Baha Men is a bizarre pick for a high-pressure stroll to the ring, it's not Lawler's song choice that's earned him the first spot on our list. No, sir. It's the fact that as the song played, Tommy could be seen walking out with his training partner, Seth Petrozelli, on a leash, down on all fours like a dog. I mean, forgive me if I'm wrong, but I'm struggling to see how anything this weird could possibly be relevant to the fight itself. But hey, whatever gets you going, I guess. Speaking of getting going, did you know that Muhammad King Mo Lawal once had a quartet of beautiful Japanese women walk into the ring? You heard that right. At Sengoku 5, an MMA event hosted by World Victory Road in Tokyo, Japan, King Mo decided to spice up his ring entrance and make an impression. What better way to do that than to walk out to some hip-hop, wearing a bright red velvet robe with a huge crown on his head, accompanied by 4 beautiful Japanese women who dance along to the music with him. And the weirdest part of all, one of those ladies was carrying an umbrella above Mo's head, as if they were expecting rain. I'm not sure if the crowd appreciated Lawal's showmanship, since he didn't seem to get a very loud reception. Don't worry, Mo. Kudos for trying. While Mo might have needed a supporting cast to make his weird entrance come to life, Diego Sanchez needed no such help for his walkout at UFC on Fuel TV 1. His music choice was considered pretty mellow, and Diego wasn't known for being a crazy showman. I'm guessing that this walkout was unintentionally hilarious, and Sanchez's seriousness makes it even funnier. Walking out, Diego carried a small silver cross at arm's length, as if he were trying to ward off any stray vampires that might lunge out from the crowd. The whole time, he wore a growling, scrunched-up expression on his face, and that forced, menacing look, coupled with the unexplained cross that reminded fans of The Exorcist, made for one of the simplest yet weirdest MMA walkouts we've ever seen. But some fighters aren't satisfied with simplicity, and Kazushi Sakuraba proved that he belongs to that class, with his creatively hilarious and absurd walkout for the Pride Grand Prix in 2003. Imagine being his opponent, Kevin Randleman, waiting in the ring for your competitor to walk in and start brawling, when all of a sudden you hear nothing other than the Super Mario theme song blasting out of the loudspeakers. Seconds later, Sakuraba walks in, dressed in a red hat and fake mustache as the famous video game character. A running theme with these entrances seems to be that they make no sense whatsoever. Maybe the logic is Mario squashes mushrooms, Sakuraba squashes fighters? Who knows? Kazushi's deadpan expression, which he held the whole time, only made the whole spectacle funnier. Even Randleman had to clap for his opponent's creative choice. Speaking of creativity, that's certainly one word you could use to describe the walkout that Jason Mayhem Miller concocted for his 2009 bout for Dream 9 in Kanagawa, Japan. Good old Mayhem certainly lived up to his name, and seemed to be completely oblivious to the pressure of the Dream Middleweight Championship that he was fighting for. As the lights dimmed, Lava Lava by Boys Noise began to play from the speakers, and Jason strutted down the steps wearing a shiny silver tracksuit, accompanied by no less than 10 young Japanese women, dressed as schoolgirls. He took his time working through a lengthy dance number with the young ladies, And if you didn't know any better, you'd think he was there to perform that choreography, rather than fight for a middleweight belt. The crowd went wild as he high-fived members of the audience and jumped about, sticking his tongue out. While it was certainly weird and wild, no one can deny that Miller's entrance was impressive. How many times did he and those girls practice that dance? But if you want to talk about dances, look no further than James Tehuna's entrance at the UFC on Fueled TV7 in 2013. James must be a huge fan of the Will Smith movie Men in Black, since his whole entrance for this bout was centered around the Men in Black theme song. He dressed up in a black suit and tie with black sunglasses, accompanied by 4 gentlemen dressed the same, and before walking to the cage, they stopped to dance the same choreographed moves from the famous music video. While they were by no means professional dancers, the group did pretty well for their first live performance. If that doesn't show commitment to a weird and funny entrance, I don't know what does. Except for maybe this next walkout, which might have set a record for the most bizarre MMA walkout ever seen. At UFC 94, a huge card including George St. Pierre and John Jones was set to take place. However, the last fight on the preliminary card included a Japanese fighter who was lesser known to American audiences. His name was Akihiro Gono, and little did everyone know that he was about to perform perhaps the most absurd walkout the UFC has ever seen, rather than the usual entrance fans were expecting. When Japanese pop music started playing, Akihiro and 2 of his friends came out in something like a Motown trio. They each wore wigs and sunglasses, but if that wasn't enough, all 3 of them were wearing tight, body-fitting, sparkly dresses. To finish their outfits, the 3 men walked out in glittery silver heels that matched the dresses. No one could believe their eyes, and the crowd went wild as Akihiro and his 2 compadres performed a sloppy but well-intentioned dance number to the music. UFC commentator Joe Rogan can be heard saying, "You gotta love that guy," as the fighter, wearing his 8-ounce gloves of course, tiptoed forward in ridiculously high heels. Though I wish I could tell you that Gono went on to win his fight. Unfortunately, he lost by unanimous decision to his opponent John Fitch. And despite his weird and memorable ring entrance, it seems you have to win the fight afterward to hold the place you've etched in the minds of the fans. Well, there you have it, folks. Some fighters go for the simple walkout song and focused jog, while others opt for more weird and bizarre ways of entertaining the fans. So from walking out with your friend on a leash like a golden retriever, to dressing up in a dress and heels like a Motown trio, those were the weirdest ring entrances in MMA history.